And welcome once again to Quoth Raven Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 28-year veteran of comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games as a writer, editor, and artist. Today is day 28 of Booktober. I'm wearing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer t-shirt, trying to keep in the Halloween spirit of things for the week. So I'll try and wear something of that Halloween-ish nature for the rest of the week on the Booktober episodes. Don't have any questions that have come in for the day, so we'll just get straight to our books that we're going to review. We have two books today. And the first is Mammoth. This is the hardcover edition is $23.95. There are paperbacks for like $7 to $9.95, I believe. Publisher is Ace Books. The writer is John Varley. The genre is science fiction, and it was originally released in 2005. And what it's about: not content with his investing his fortune and watching it grow, multi-billionaire Howard Christian buys rare cars that he actually drives, acquires collectible toys that he actually plays with, and builds buildings that defy the imagination. But now his restless mind has turned to a new obsession: cloning a mammoth. In the barren province of Canada, a mammoth hunter financed by Christian has made the discovery of a lifetime: an intact, frozen, woolly mammoth. But what he finds during the painstaking process of excavating this huge creature baffles the mind. Huddled next to the mammoth is the mummified body of a Stone Age man around 12,000 years old, and he's wearing a wristwatch. It looks like Howard Christian is going to get his wish and more. Christian's team finds a mammoth frozen in ice, along with two human beings, one of whom happens to be wearing the wristwatch. His assistant, Warbutton, is initially convinced that this is a joke, but Howard takes the notion of time travel very seriously and hires physicist Matt Wright to study a metal briefcase, which is presumably a time machine. Matt soon falls in love with Susan Morgan, the elephant keeper, who is in charge of the Mammoth Project, who works in the same warehouse. Two religious zealots and animal rights activists launch an attack against the mammoth cloners, but accidentally find themselves in Wright's section of the warehouse. One of them whacks the time machine, which, unbeknownst to him, turns on a tiny light in the machine. When Matt and Susan come to the lab to investigate, they are transported back many thousands of years to the last major ice age. After a few adventures there, they find their way back and return to our time with a herd of mammoths in tow. They appear in the middle of Los Angeles, where all but two of the mammoths are slaughtered by police and a high-powered laser Christian has in his tower. Matt leaves Susan to work out the details of time travel. 5 years later, Susan is the trainer of the two remaining mammoths, Little Fuzzy and Big Mama. Matt returns, explaining that he'd been held captive for weeks in what might have been a government facility. Susan reveals that she wants to free Little Fuzzy. And with the help of another animal rights activist, Susan and Matt bring Little Fuzzy back to Canada. When Howard and his movie star girlfriend Andrea go to try to retrieve the mammoth, they are sent back to the Ice Age, where they attempt to introduce more advanced but still primitive technology to the locals, and Little Fuzzy is allowed to go free. Yep, this is a weird book. It's made weirder still by the way Varley writes the book. The chapters are numbered in chronological order, but appears to be based on a narrative order set. In other words, chapter 1 is chronologically the first event to happen in the storyline, but it's at the end of the book. So that might turn off some readers. And this is not Varley's best effort. It just happened to be a book I came across for free at my local library recently. The price, again, was for the hardcover. There is a more affordable paperback in the $6.99 to $9.99 range. I recommend it for ages 16 and up. There are some, levels of intimacy and stuff, but it's an interesting story. I give it 3 out of 5 stars. Unfortunately, I don't have any graphics other than the cover to show you. So let's go ahead and jump to our next book. And that is Superheroes, which is an anthology by Ace Books for $5.99. This was edited by John Varley along with Ricia Mainhardt. And there's a lot of writers here. This is a collection of short stories. We have Laurell K. Hamilton of, Anita Blake Vampire Hunter fame. Brian M. Thompson, Michael A. Stackpole, who's written for Star Wars, Mikey Zucker-Reichert, Alan Dean Foster. I'm pretty sure most people who are into science fiction know who Alan Dean Foster is, but he wrote some of the original Star Wars books. He's written for Star Trek. He wrote the Aliens novelization. He's written literally hundreds of books of his own creations. So very well known. B.W. Clow, Roland J. Green, and Frida A. Murray. Josepha Sherman. Comics Paul Kupperberg, Mike Resnick, and Lawrence Schmel. Gerard Hausman, Roger Zelazny, another guy that you should all know if you're into science fiction at all. PJ Beeson, Todd Cameron Hamilton, Richard A. Knack, Dwight Decker, Donna Chancey. You should know who Jody Lynn Nye is. If you're in comics, you should know who Denny O Neil is. You should probably know who Steve Antzak is as well. Jerry Bingham, you should know. Brian Lineweaver, maybe not. Lawrence whatever. If you know science fiction, you know who that is. Of course, John Varley himself. The genre is science fiction, or superhero fiction, and the ISBN number is 0-441-00307-9, and this was originally released in 1995. It is a tour de force collection of original superhero fiction stories by, frankly, some of the best science fiction, fantasy, and comics writers around. You think that Mark Miller was the genius who did superhero as a Russian proletariat hero with that Red Sun comic? John Varley only did that story 20 years earlier in this book right here, in this collection. You want to read a really twisted ending where the hero turns into a deadly and nefarious villain? Laurell K. Hamilton will blow your mind right out of the gate with the first story, Captain Housework. There are really no weak stories in this book. It was far and away the best superhero anthology of the 1990s and arguably one of the top 5 anthologies of that genre, superhero anthologies, in the 20th century. It's funny how I see these amazing writers do these awesome stories in prose, but we almost never see them in comics. Yet the comics publishers keep publishing the same boring dorks that most audiences have become tired of. I don't know. It just goes to prove how little the editors seem to pay attention to the world around them. They have their niche tastes and interests, and that's who they hire all the time. Anyway, I recommend this book for ages 13 and up. I give it 5 stars. That's pretty much all I got for today. Unfortunately, what I thought was supposed to be coming in the mail yesterday didn't arrive. It's going to sometime arrive today. Maybe I'll come back and do a part 2. I don't know. Depends on what time the package arrives in the mail. But if not, then I'll share that stuff tomorrow with what I've got for tomorrow. Okay. That being said, John, as always, when he's around, says hello. Thank you for watching. As always, John, I appreciate it. So let's go ahead and see what we got for tomorrow. We have tomorrow's books will be Spider-Girl, The Complete Collection, Volume 1, and The Undertaking of Lily Chen, which is really creepy looking thing. It's about in Japan, you have to, if you're young, you have to have a bride to take with you to the grave or something like that. So this guy died and he didn't have a girl, so his brother goes to basically kill someone and put him with the graves or something like that. So it's a weird book. I'm not quite done finishing reading it yet, but I'll be happy to talk about it tomorrow. It's going to be a really creepy book, though. So that will be tomorrow, folks. So if you want to reach me out, reach out to me. You can reach out at Facebook at Lewis.BrightRaven, on DeviantArt at deviantart.com/BrightRaven. at Quoth the Raven, Louis Brett Raven on YouTube. You can email me at quoththeravenlbr72@gmail.com. And if I don't answer to the Gmail, try LouisBrettRaven at yahoo.com. The podcast, the regular weekly podcast, is on Thursdays at 9 p.m. We do have Booktober every day around 1:30 or 2 p.m.-ish time all throughout October. And there are those for you again. And tomorrow evening, for Quoth the Raven, I will either have a guest creator who hasn't gotten back to me yet, or we will discuss a theme of the most underrated artists, in my opinion, who aren't getting work and stuff like that. So I'll try and do a top 10 of those for tomorrow. So it'll either be one or both of those things tomorrow's show, okay? So until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow on Booktober. And I thank you for watching, as always. And we will see you next time.